All right, it says preparing to live stream the meeting. Preparing to live stream the meeting. All right, we're live, Queen. Sister Halima?
Yes.
Peace, Queen, we're live.
Peace and love. How's everyone doing? Thank you for joining us on the RAM Book Club, Resurgence of the African Mind, where we seek to liberate African minds by reading one unit of work at a time. I know it has been a while since we have joined you, and we are happy to be back. I am your girl, Lily Lapoete Speaks, also known as Alima Njai, here with Dr. Maat and Brother Tuola. We are going to be reading Powernomics. And what we're going to do is we're going to kick it off and just share a short video while we wait for others to come and join us. And everyone that is going to be joining us today, we appreciate you.
The world, and I asked blacks in various countries, I said, two people stand up any place in the room, I'll give you $1,000 if you can tell me what racism is. I've never ever had one that knew what racism was. Never had one. I said, what is racism? He said, well, it's bigotry, it's hatred, it's not getting along with people, it's bias, it's discrimination. All that wrong. Racism has nothing to do with getting along with people and liking people. Racism is a competitive relationship between groups of people who are competing for the ownership and control of resources, wealth, and power. That's what racism is. Racism never existed on the earth until the 1500s, when all of a sudden 9 European nations decided to use black labor, black bodies, and black wealth out of Africa to get in a race. After Columbus had discovered America, supposedly, in quotes, in 1495, all of a sudden they're gonna rush to redevelop the Western world. So all these countries were in a race, a contest, competing to see who can develop North America, Central America, and Latin America. It was a race. It was a race, and everybody was in the race but black folk. Black folk never participated in the race. You were the prize, the boot, the loot that they used to empower themselves. See, they were buying blacks in Africa on a typical for $15 to $20 a piece. And they established a thing called a profit margin, 15% return on investment, 1,500% return. So they were selling for $400 and $500. They got into the United States and to other countries. And that's why the whole banking system started off of slavery in Portugal. Again, and the whole system of capitalism started off of black slavery. Before that was mercantilism. The whole concept that you all are playing in with promotions and what's called marketing development came out of black slavery. And it was designed not for you to profit, but for others to profit. Everybody was profiting initially except you, and it has not changed. And so when I look at your program, and it says that you are marketing developers. Marketing developers. I would say marketing means going into any environment, a site, a geographical area, and promoting a product or a service or a good to get an equal value for it. You're marketing, but it also stipulates in there that to be a marketer, you must have a market. So I asked black folk, where are your markets? Where are your markets? Where is the black market? And they said, well, Dr. Ellis, we got a black market. Where is it? They said, well, it's all over the United States. And that's how much you get. We got a $650 billion black market. And that's a lot of money. Wrong, it's not. It is not a lot of money. It's only a lot of money when it's aggregated. Scattered through the integration process, your money is nothing. It is chunk change. Because we don't plan to have power. That's why we continue to integrate and scatter our money. And then brag about how much money we got. And then we come up with magazines and research to tell everybody where to go get our money and how to get it. Nobody else is that foolish but us. You got to have a license to be that stupid to do those kind of games. You don't tell people how to come into your market and how to sell to your people and take your money and your economy out. That's called a capital drain. When I was assistant secretary in commerce, I took trade missions around the world. Nobody would allow that to happen in their country. We would not let the Japanese come over here and do dumpings, dump their automobiles in Norfolk and in Jacksonville, Florida. That's called dumping, which means you come over and take the wealth out of our nation and doesn't take anything back to Japan. When they come over and dump their steel from Korea, we had a balance of trade policy, so you can't do this. Everybody has a balance of trade policy except black folk. We'll let anybody come in and do anything to us because we haven't changed since slavery. We still don't understand the process. Every day, Burger Kings and McDonald's trucks will come into a black neighborhood and dump hamburgers and Coca-Cola and take nothing out. That's a balance of trade deficit. This country right now is suffering from a balanced trade because we've allowed it to happen since Bush has been in office. And that's why you cannot profit in the society, because you got a capital drain. Nobody's ever taught black folk how to practice group economics. Your money is supposed to stay in your own country or in your own community and with your own hands and your own people, and bounce at least 8 to 12 times. But we are the only people that absolutely refuse to do it. We won't do it. As a matter of fact, we are against spending money with our own people.
All right, Dr. Maat.
Yes, 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 Queen, I'm here.
All right.
That was so powerful. I mean, I could listen to Dr. John. I could listen to Dr. Claude Anderson all day.
Yes.
I could listen to that brother all day. And it just seems like, the constant message is practice group economics and understand racism. I love how in the beginning of the video, he defined what racism is. A lot of us think that racism is someone calling you, the N-word or something like that, but it's deeper than that. It's really deeper than that. And I think that Dr. Claude Anderson gave a wonderful definition of racism. I also think that Dr. Amos Wilson in his book, Blueprint for Black Power, gave us a wonderful definition of racism. But that was a powerful video, Sister Alima. Thanks for sharing that. Peace and power, family. This is your girl, Sister Dr. Maat. I'm happy to be back. I know it's been a long time, family, but we took a short break, just a short break, because Sister Alima and I, we went hard. The whole RAM book club, we went hard for about a year and a half. So we took some time off, but we're back and we're ready to get this thing going again. I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself, Brother Shimsu. Let's go ahead and introduce yourself to the panel while I continue to send out these links.
Okay.
Hi, Brother Shimsu.
Peace, family. Again, my name is Brother Shimsu. I'm out of Detroit. I'm an IT professional. I love the Rams Book Club. We read the most powerful books, out there. What I like about this particular group is that we studying. I love the classical stuff. Don't get me wrong, but current issues, ways in which that we can get our freedom. That's what I like about the kind of books that we're reading. We're reading material to analyze our existence, our struggle for liberation. So I'm truly happy to be part of the group.
Absolutely. And Brother Shimsu, I'm so happy that you on the panel because we love and appreciate your input, man, because you've been doing this thing for a minute, studying the work of the elders and ancestors. So, we love having you on the panel. And yeah, we love having you on the panel. And I've learned a lot from you, over the past year and a half. But today, family, we're going to focus on Dr. Claude Anderson, Powernomics. We won't be before you long. I know many of you are anxious about this Super Bowl that's happening at 6 o'clock. I'm not watching it, just Brother Shimzu. Are you watching it?
Oh, I used to play football. I played football from fourth grade all the way through high school. Would have played football, but in college, but couldn't pass the physical. So I'm definitely for football. But I know what people mean by the racism that's existing in football. So I understand people who don't watch it. You know what I mean? But I still got that sporting blood.
Oh no, it's all good. I'm not watching it because the Ravens on out of it. That quarterback.
Oh,
yeah, we thought he was going to go. We thought he was going to go all the way, and when he got out of it, and
they were so racist towards, and they wanted him to be become a defensive back, a great quarterback like that. They didn't want him to dominate See, what the future is the black quarterback, which is a dual threat. He can run and he can throw. And these and so you're beginning to see. I've seen these kind of quarterbacks in black colleges for years. They modify running backs and turn them into quarterbacks. Michael Vick was one of those ones. Really, you can a running back quarterback. They can be either running back or quarterback. Black college has been using those kind of athletes for years. Now, it kind of somebody got smart and allowed that to get into your Division I schools and in the NFL. And these black quarterbacks that can run that ball and can throw is the future.
Okay, so that's why you're saying they just okay. All right, so you're saying it was intentional. All right.
Oh yeah.
All
These
right.
dual threat quarterbacks, they are the future. The black quarter, you're seeing that right now with Jackson. And you look at the ones that's getting drafted in the NFL at these major colleges, these dual threat quarterbacks. They can run the football and throw the football. That is the future.
I can dig it. I can dig it. But all right, I'm gonna share my screen for a little bit. Let me share my screen. I prepared a small little presentation on Dr. Claude Anderson. All right. So Dr. Claude Anderson family has been around for a while. He's been in the community doing wonderful work for a while now. He's produced a number of books. One that we're getting ready to read, Powernomics, the National Plan to Empower Black America. He published another book entitled A Black History Reader, 100 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. Black Labor, White Wealth, The Search for Power and Economic Justice. Dirty Little Secrets about Black history, its heroes and other troublemakers. And there is a part two to the Dirty Little Secrets that I didn't put on this slide, but there's definitely a part two to this. So Dr. Claude Anderson, he's been around for a while. He's lectured all throughout the United States, all around the world. In fact, he lives right here in Silver Springs, Maryland. I'm from DC. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, for those who don't know, but I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. And so he's always here. He's either in Washington, DC, Silver Spring, or he comes to Baltimore to lecture. And so I've seen Dr. Claude Anderson. I've attended several of his lectures right here in Baltimore. So it's a little bit about Dr. Claude Anderson. How do I move this? Let me put this down. A little bit about Dr. Claude Anderson. He's the president of two companies, one entitled Powernomics Corporation of America Incorporation and the Harvest Institute Incorporation. Powernomics Corporation of America is that's his book publishing company. So they publish his books and they also produce his video media. The Harvest Institute is a company that it operates like a think tank. They do a lot of research. They research, economics and politics and how these different, entities affect Black people. So those are his two companies. Dr. Claude Anderson has held high positions in federal and state government and politics. During the 1970s, he was elected state coordinator of education for the state of Florida. At one point, he held the position of federal co-chair for a commission of governors. And in 1988, he was the major planner and coordinator for the Democratic Convention in Atlanta. Dr. Claude Anderson has also oversaw funding of more than 30 businesses. So the brother knows what he's talking about in terms of economics and politics and even history. So he's definitely has a number of accomplishments and great experience or great expertise that he can bring to the community. A lot of people are starting to get to know him. He's really mainstream at this point. He was on the Breakfast Club maybe about a month or two ago, and I looked recently, and I believe that his interview is almost up to like 1.7 million views at this point. But he was on the Breakfast Club, and he did a wonderful interview there. He's also been featured in Hidden Colors, Part 2. That was the film produced by brother Tariq Nasheed. And Dr. Boyce Watkins has brought him on his platform, Your Black World, a number of times. So you see that down the bottom. So Dr. Claude Anderson has been around for a minute. And again, his whole objective is to get Black people to pull their resources together, our resources together, so that we can become a self-sufficient people. and also build wealth and generational wealth. So that's really his whole, that's been his message since he's been out there. But the Ram Book Club, we're going to read one of his books, maybe more, but we're going to read Powernomics, the National Plan to Empower Black America. This book was first published in 2001, and it was a 5-year plan to make Black people a sufficient and competitive group. In a lot of Dr. Claude Anderson's lectures, he says that if Black people don't get themselves together, he said we will be a permanent bottom class people. And that's been his fear. And that's what he's been saying for decades now. And so anyway, in 2001, he decided to publish a book, you know, that was a 5-year plan to make us self-sufficient and competitive group. But even though, you know, that time has elapsed, we can still use this book to empower ourselves. The book destroys the myths and illusions of Black progress. I know a lot of us think that we've made it because we see people like Jay-Z and Beyonce and these Black, you know, celebrities and athletes. And so we think that we're making it. But Shamsu and Sister Alima, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that that most of the wealth in the Black community lies in the hands of, is it 2% or 3%? Something to that effect?
To that effect, yep, you're right.
Yeah, maybe like 2 or 3% of Black wealth is in the hands of 2% or 3% of the Black population. In fact, 48% of, I want to say 48 or is either 48 or 51% of Black people live at or below the poverty line. And I did read a stat that says 78% of Black children live in poverty. And so, you know, we do have the illusion that we've made progress because of what Dr. Michelle Alexander calls Black exceptionalism. We fed into Black exceptionalism. And so a lot of us do believe that we've made progress because of Black exceptionalism. So anyway, Powernomics, it definitely destroys the myths and illusions of Black progress. And it teaches Black people how to pull resources and aspects of power, right? Pull together their resources and aspects of power so that they or we can produce, distribute, and consume in a way that creates goods and wealth. Sister Alima, would you like to add to that, Queen?
I think that it's definitely far time for us to, I mean, it's just like when we were reading Blueprint for Black Power, and we were saying that this is needed in the Black community, and it's always been needed for us to truly learn what racism is, number one, and then also to learn what it is that we need to do for ourselves as a people. And I think that Powernomics is really going to help us to get a deeper view on it, because Baba Wilson, he touched on it, but Dr. Claude Anderson, this is his jush. This is what he does. So I'm definitely excited about reading this book, and I'm excited to see what I can gain from it myself and try to, you know, utilize in my own household as well as communities. But the bottom line is that we don't understand that we need to come together as a unit in order to establish this wealth that we all dream about. We're just going to be extremely hard to do it on our own.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brother Simsu.
I totally agree with Dr. Claude Anderson. He's a genius when it comes to economics. Of course, we know about him. He's quite well known here in Detroit. The thing is that I think we got the cart before the horse here. That's why I'd be glad when we read Remember Ani's book, Yurugu, because that's going to tie into what Sister Alima was talking about, is that we don't know why we're not sticking together, and the significance of that. She really ties into all of that with the asili, the core of who we are, and dealing with culture, and dealing with a sense of value as a collective. That's why I can't wait till, because it'll tie into what Dr. Amos Wilson is saying and Dr. Claude Anderson is saying. It's a component in which he's saying is there has to be in place before we implement a lot of this. And she really ties it in.
Yeah, and Brother Shamsu, can you elaborate on what Dr. Claude Anderson did in Detroit? I remember you said they ran him out of there. You talked about this during one of the discussions and when we were talking about Blueprint for Black Power, and you said that he was coming in there and trying to create a Black economic district. And I think you said that the political the political figures in Detroit, you said that the Asians started Asians started complaining. Go ahead and elaborate on that. I'm gonna let you talk about that.
Well, what the proposal was is a town called African Town. What was going to what he tried to implement, and what was going to happen with African Town is that it was going to create an economic base for Black people, because you have Chinatown, you have Greektown, where these particular communities, with their shared values and they create their own infrastructure to empower themselves. The same thing in Dearborn. You have the Arabic community. You think that you're in the Middle East if you go to Dearborn, Michigan. African Town was our way in which that we were going to build an economic base that we could begin to operate and implement what we're going to be learning with Dr. Claude Anderson's book. What happened is that the Arabs who control, your grocery stores and things like that, the Koreans who control the Black hair care products, they felt threatened by African towns because they believed that was going to take the resources, we were going to become a competitor to them. And so they began to, attack because they pay for these politicians. People who come in our communities, they buy our politicians, and they operate. Of course, that happens nationwide. And they operate in the interest of those foreigners, and so they began to put pressure on the politicians, and so they got rid of that. And his whole vision of African Town was destroyed by the Arab community, the Jewish community, and also the Korean community. Because they all felt threatened by African Town, because that was going to be a basis of what we're going to. Dr. Claude Anderson was laying out an entire economic program for resources, businesses, fish markets, grocery stores. He had an entire program they was putting together.
You know how deep that is? What that says to me is that they literally understand that we are feeding them. And if we were to ever walk away and decide to feed ourselves, then they'd be fucked.
Exactly. See, it's a deep element there, because these people buy these politicians. And you see how people get disrespected, go in these stores and get disrespected, but they scared to step to them. A lot of our politicians is because they finance them,
So they ran him out of there. And didn't Claude Anderson, correct me if I'm wrong, he also sent something, was it to Barack Obama about reparations? I know he said he submitted something to the White House, or he wrote a letter regarding reparations. I heard something about that. I'm not sure if anybody on the panel heard something.
The problem with Barack Obama was that, it's not all him, not so, and I'll get my parents, I'll get my mother and a lot of family members upset about this. Politics has like a fail-safe mechanism in it, that it runs like on automatic pilot. Doesn't matter who is in office, it's going to support the system of white supremacy. Doesn't matter who's in office. It's a good example was the Barack Obama in Flint. The General Motors was complaining about the water in Flint that was corroding the auto parts. So the politicians realigned water to General Motors so they can have sufficient healthy water for the plant, but didn't do that for the people. They reconstructed the pipes and connected the water to a different water system outside of Flint's water system, so that General Motors can have effective water for the plant, but kept the people on the corroded water. And Barack Obama did nothing. Did nothing.
And then I just looked in the chat room, Brother Doug, peace to you, Brother Doug. He said that Dr. Claude Anderson proposed HR 47 to the Congress, but they rejected it. Let me Google what that is, HR 47.
I remember that. I do remember that, yeah. I can't remember what it was.
Reparations.
What did you say, sis?
Was it for reparations?
That's what I thought it was for. I just Googled HR 47, Dr. Claude Anderson. HR 47, Dr. Claude Anderson. I see something popped up. First thing popped up, it says petition. We choose Dr. Claude Anderson to be. So somebody put a petition up, but. And then you have these different images in his company, the Harvest Institute, just popped up. That came.
He was going to create Dr. Claude Anderson was going to create a fish market and distribution right in Detroit with hundreds of people, thousands of people. He was going to create an entire market, a fish market for distribution. Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at the chat again. It says, look, Doug says it was a study for reparations, but wasn't, so, okay, so it was something similar to HR 40, basically. That's what it sounds like, that it was something, he said HR 47 to Congress, he said, but they rejected it. And he said that it was the study, the study for reparations. So it sounds to me that it was similar to what, I forgot the name of the congressman. He proposed it in the 1980s. It was HR 47. Let me see what his name was. I know that he passed not too long ago. HR 40. Let me see. Yep. The Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposals for African Americans Act. Yep. So yeah. So it seems like his HR 47 may have been something similar to that. And I believe that it was produced. I want to say that the brother's name was Conyers. I'm looking for it now. Yes.
John Conyers?
Yes, John Conyers. So I'm looking at it right now because he said that Dr. Claude Anderson produced something called HR 47 to study reparations. And so I guess Dr. Claude Anderson may have been doing something similar to John Conyers, something similar to John Conyers' HR 40 bill, which was really like the commission to study reparation proposals. So it seems like they were kind of doing similar things. Yeah, doing something similar. All right. Does anybody want to add anything else? I know that we're going to start chapter 1 next week. Chapter 1. Let me open it up. So the book is broken into 3 parts, 8 chapters. Chapter 1 is called Racism, Monopolies, and Inappropriate Behavior. I know that's going to be powerful. Racism, monopolies, and inappropriate behavior. This chapter is about 30 pages long. And so we're going to discuss this chapter next week. So before we close out, Sister Alima, do you have any words, anything?
I'm just happy to be back in the Ram Book Club, ready to get this mind back resurging. And glad everybody is joining us. And yeah, that's about it for me.
Okay. Doug, I'm gonna get you. I'm looking in the chat and you said dr.maat, it was HR 40. I had 8. You know what, Doug? I'm up here reading you, Doug. I'm gonna get you on the panel. You got to get on this panel with us one day, man. You got to get on the panel with us one day. All right. Well, Brother Shamsu.
I can't wait to get into it. Same here for me. I did find it on my Scribe, but I want my book there. So I'm going to go ahead and reorder that so I can go ahead and start reading this. But it's called Racism, Monopolies, and Inappropriate Behavior. Can't wait to dig into that.
Yep, chapter 1. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, Brother Shamsu. Amazon is, I think they're charging didn't you tell me they were charging a ridiculous amount of money for the Powernomics book? I think you told me it was like $40, $50, or $60, Brother Shamsu.
Right. And then they had a few of them that was $18. There was Amazon Prime. So I said, wow, well, this was 18. But, now I don't know what's going on with it. It seems like when you get, controversial books, I think some of these brokers, they'll find out these guys are out of print. They'll have them for like $400 or $500. The book, Claude Anderson book was like $90. Well, like you said, I can get it directly from him. That's what I'm ordering it from right now.
Yes.
I thought I could get it in 2 days, but I'm gonna go straight to the manufacturer right here. Dr.
Yes.
Claude Anderson.
So family, if you're going to Amazon and you're having an issue with purchasing Powernomics, just go directly to Dr. Claude Anderson's site,
Right.
powernomics.com, and you can get the book directly from him. Also, there is a bookstore in Baltimore, a cultural bookstore called Everyone's Place. I know that their website is down right now, but you can call them. It's called Everyone's Place in Baltimore, Maryland. You can call them and you can place your order by phone and they'll ship it out to you. And I believe the book is what, 20, I want to say it's, yeah, $29. So you can either get it on powernomics.com or you can get it from Everyone's Place in Baltimore, but you'll have to call them and place the order by phone. I'm happy to be back, family. I'm looking forward to the discussion next week on race, monopolies, and what was it? Let me look. Race, monopolies, and
inappropriate behavior.
Yes, and inappropriate behavior. I know at one point, Dr. Claude Anderson said in a lot of his lectures that he said that Black people are, he said that we don't have any power because we're practicing a disempowering culture. So he criticized the culture of Black folks. But anyway, we'll get more into that next week. And I'm wondering if he's going to touch on that in chapter 1. But I've heard him say that in a lot of his lectures, that we practice a disempowering culture. We do, and it's your culture that teaches you how to spend your money and with whom to spend your money. That's cultural, and so I'm pretty sure he's probably going to touch on that in chapter 1. So anyway, we're getting ready to sign off, family. Please get your books as soon as possible. Again, you can get it from powernomics.com at Everyone's Place. Share this video, encourage your friends to join the RMA book club. Sister Alima and I are working on getting t-shirts for the book club. So we're working on that right now so that all of us have t-shirts for the RAM book club. So we're working on that, family. Have a wonderful and productive week. Peace and Black power.
Black power.